So I reached the age of 40 without ever once, not once, considering that I would run for public office. I had lived in Tofino for 15 years. I'd volunteered on committees, I'd gone to open houses, I'd shown up at budget meetings. I never, ever once saw myself as one of them. I watched mayors and councillors get elected, and some of them I even knew personally. I still never imagined that I would, could, or should be one of them. When the November 2011 election came up, a friend of mine came to me and said, "I'm considering running for mayor." I was so proud of him for putting himself out there. I signed his nomination papers. The election took place, he won the election, and he became the mayor of Tofino. A year later, due to a set of unforeseen circumstances, he stepped down. A friend came to me and said, "Josie, you should run for mayor." I said, "Oh, no, I really don't think so." And he said, no, we really need you." And I thought, oh, you need me. Another friend came to me and said, "Josie, we really want you to run for mayor. We need you." And again, I said, I just don't know. My head was full of yes, but. Yes, but I'm really busy. Yes, but I have to make a 2-year commitment to this. Yes, but what if people don't support me? Yes, but what if I lose? How will that feel? The biggest for me, yes, but, was yes, but do I have a thick enough skin? Being one of them, I viewed them through newspapers, through social media, on blogs. You watch Question Period, you read the letters to the editor, you think, boy, a politician has to have a very thick skin. Was my skin thick enough? The secondhand observations that I had made about politicians had all led to a stereotype that I had and an assumption about a set of characteristics that people had. When I deliberated for running, I really thought a lot about the thick skin. And I thought. I didn't talk to very many people about it, but I did talk to my husband a lot about it because my husband knows me best. Do I have a thick enough skin? And he said, Josie, there's something I've observed about you over the years. You're kind of reluctant sometimes to say what you really think. You're reluctant to take a position. And if you're going to run for mayor, you'd better make sure you really know your values and that you're able to put them out there, because isn't that what's worth defending and being criticized for? Having a thick skin, maybe, maybe not. A long story short, I never got to campaign. I never got to put it out there because I was acclaimed. So lucky me, I'm the envy of mayors from all over Vancouver Island. But there is a regret in this, and that is that I didn't get to test my mettle. However, the good side was it augured a gentle start to my mayoral career, and the first year was great. I got to know my council and community, I listened, I got to understand what the role of being the mayor is, I got to feel comfortable in my skin. I didn't have to test the thickness very often. A year into my 2-year mandate, a couple of things changed. In a public meeting, somebody accused me of lying and deliberately manipulating information to the public that would feed into a decision that council made, and he was not happy with the decision that council had made. The second thing happened was more of a one-on-one private conversation with somebody, and as I tried to explain a decision that council had made, he got more and more upset, and finally he just said, "You don't care." Well, both of these situations, I felt that kind of fire in your belly, and it rushes up your throat and your face, and you feel on fire. They had a couple things in common, these two situations. First, I was able to keep my cool. I had a thick skin, after all. I was just going to fend that off. I'm not going to listen to that. But they were different in a couple of ways, because I had to stop and ask myself, why do I feel this way? And both of these situations, I found that values that I hold very, very core were challenged. Honesty and empathy. Had I been honest, had I sympathized and had I empathized, with the man who told me that I don't care. So at this time, I realized, this is what a thick skin is all about. If I have a thick skin, I'm not going to be able to feel those emotions and feel the hurt, and it stung. So I've been doing quite a bit of thinking, and I realized that there are things I could do differently, and both of these situations made me realize that. In the first case, I asked myself, well, could I have handled things differently, communicated differently, so that this man would not have been so upset with me? And I decided, yes, I could. And in the second situation, could I have explained things differently? Could I have done something differently so that he felt that I cared? And in that case, I decided, no, I'm not sure. And in fact, I don't think this person will ever like me or anyone in my role or anyone in local government, and he's going to be unhappy for a long, long time. I can't change that. The problem with having a thick skin is that things don't get through. And Eleanor Roosevelt said, any woman in public office needs to have a hide as tough as a rhinoceros. Well, a rhinoceros hide, it isn't open to the shift of the wind or a brush or a little scratch or a scrape. A rhinoceros hide puts everything out and makes me feel nothing. And I don't want to be a mayor that feels nothing. So I've decided that instead of a rhinoceros hide, I'm going to imagine that I have this permeable Superman type or Superwoman suit underneath my business suit. And this permeable skin is going to give me 5 things. So first of all, there is a kernel of truth, I think, in every bit of criticism that comes your way. But a permeable skin is something that lets the criticism of an idea through, but not the criticism of you as a person. The constructive part, not the personal part. It helps us evaluate where the criticism is coming from, who's saying it, what's their agenda, how does this, or is this relevant to the situation at hand, what can I learn from it? The second thing about a permeable skin is that it adapts. So a permeable skin naturally stretches when you're one-on-one with somebody. It's a bit softer and it lets more in. But a permeable skin can become taut when you're in a group full of people, and I find sometimes when you're in a group full of people, emotions run high, and people will say things in front of an entire audience that they would never say to you one-on-one. I haven't figured that one out yet. Maybe you guys can help me. Third, a permeable skin is a bit like a mirror, and it helps me empathize with somebody. It helps me pick up the subtleties and see what might be going on with that person and how they might be feeling or what's happening in their life at that time that I should be mindful of as I listen to them. Now, fourth, a permeable skin does still have a few spots of rhinoceros hide, and they're like calluses. And a callus forms when something rubs you over and over and over again in the same spot. So when you hear the same criticisms over and over and over again, it's easy to develop a callus. And so what I do is I use my closest confidants as my pumice stone, and they help me rough off the callus and look at underneath what's really going on. And I can only do that with the people that I trust the most. The fifth thing about a permeable skin is that it certainly isn't perfect. And some criticism still stings and it still hurts. And I think that's a good thing because it reminds me that I am human. And if I had that super tough rhinoceros hide, I really wouldn't be able to feel anything. So there's one last thing that I want to tell you about my decision to run for mayor. And I haven't told you this yet. So I told you that a friend had come to me and he had urged me to run, and I humbled and I hemmed and hawed. And I told you that I had a preconceived idea, I had a stereotype of what politicians were like. So it probably won't surprise you to know that one of the responses to my friend was, yeah, I just don't want to be one of them. And that's when my friend issued a challenge. He issued me the ask that I could not turn down. He said, Josie, if you don't want to be one of them, well, why don't you go ahead and do it and show us how it should be done? So I am doing it without a thick skin. I am doing it with a permeable skin, and I invite you to join me envisioning your skin as permeable as you move through your lives and your careers, and those criticisms inevitably come your way. Thank you.